Good day, and today we're going to look at the rise of the novel. But first, let's define it. A novel is a long work of narrative fiction, normally written in prose form, and which is typically published as a book. The term for novel in most European languages is roman, which suggests its closeness to the medieval romance. The English name is derived from the Italian novella, meaning a new little thing. Romances and novellas, short tales and prose, were predecessors of the novel. Now, when we look at the romance of the chivalric romance, it's a type of a narrative in prose or verse popular in the aristocratic circles of high medieval and early modern Europe. There were marvel-filled adventures, often of a knight with heroic qualities who carries out a quest. In later romances, particularly those of the French origin, there's a marked tendency to emphasize themes of courtly love. Next, we have the Italian novella. Since the 18th century, the term novella or nouvelle in German has been used in English and other European languages to describe a long short story or a short novel. The first English novel is said to be Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe in 1719 and his Moll Flanders in 1722. Now, there are factors that are responsible for the rise of the novel in the 18th century. First is the rise of realism. 18th century literature was characterized by the spirit of realism. Reason, intellect, and correctness were the main characteristics of 18th century literature. It is also considered as a product of an intellectual milieu, shaped by the 17th century philosophers such as Descartes and Locke, who both insisted upon the importance of an individual experience. The reading public wanted to see their lives reflected in a literary form. Novelists like Defoe and Richardson were writing about the struggles of middle-class people and using experiences that were clearly recognizable to the reading public. They represented characters in particular places and times with familiar naming. Subjects were also relevant to 18th century concerns. Next would be the availability of printed materials. In the 18th century, the appearance of newspapers and magazines attracted a large number of readers from the middle class. These new readers had little interest in the romances and the tragedies which had interested the upper class. Thus, the need for a new type of literature that would express the new ideas of 18th century rose, and this new type of literature was none but novel. Third, we have the rise of a middle class. An equally important element in the rise of the novel was economic. As industrialization increased, a middle class developed rapidly in England. With the increasing middle class came more education and leisure time, both ingredients in the popularity of the novel as more people had time to read and more money to buy books. Next is the role of women. In the 18th century, women of upper classes and the middle classes could not participate in all of the activities of men. They could not engage themselves in administration, politics, hunting, drinking, and hence, in their leisure time, they used to read novels. Next is the decline of drama. The decline of drama also contributed to the rise of the novel in the 18th century. In the 18th century, drama lost its fame that it had in the Elizabethan age. It did not remain an influential literary form, thus its place was filled by the English novel after 1740, and thus the decline of drama led to the rise of the English novel. Lastly, a circulating library is quite similar to the public libraries that we have today. People were able to borrow a limited number of books for a set length of time, and they were subject to fines if items were lost, damaged, or returned after the due date. Likewise, circulating libraries stocked a wide range of items, including nonfiction, fiction, and eventually children's books. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I appreciate it if you subscribed.